Hello! Welcome to another video, and one of the best videos of the year because it's the one where I get to gush about my favourite books from the year past. So here are my best books, or my best reads of 2023. I feel like in terms of quantity of 5-star reads, 2023 was not the best because I had 3 5-star reads in February and 4 5-star reads for the rest of the year, and then I had a few that were rereads, but I'll get into them at the end because I don't feel like they really count as being like best of the year because they weren't best of that year. So I've got 7 5-star reads to talk to you about today for my best reads of 2023. My first 5-star read of 2023 was The Witch and the Tsar by Alessia Salnikova-Gilmore. This was a beautiful, beautiful read. This is the Goldsboro edition with the gorgeous sprayed edges and the gorgeous under the dust jacket. I love this edition of this book. This is a Baba Yaga retelling, and I love Slavic folklore. I love Baba Yaga stories. I love anything like that. And this was so atmospheric, so beautiful, just that right sort of slow, whimsy, incredibly built world and atmosphere. Just the right sort of dark magic, but like not like dark magic, but you know, just that like darker undertone of magic and just the right risk factor and so on. And I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed. So in this one, we follow our main character, Yaga, who is Baba Yaga, and she, for years, has lived alone in the Russian forest, dealing in healing potions and gentle magics. However, Tsar Ivan is becoming more reckless and more volatile every single day. We're getting into the story of Ivan the Terrible here, and his Tsarina thinks that she has been poisoned, so she summons Yaga to help her and her husband, and as it turns out, Ivan is being manipulated by powers far greater than himself, leaning more on that dark magical side, and there are great powers at play in Russia, playing with Russian politics as toys, and Yaga has to call on bigger powers than she knew she had to step in and save the people that are important to her. I just love the Slavic folklore vibes. I don't know how else to explain that, but the vibes, the atmosphere, it is very much something that I love, and I can imagine that this story is one that I'm probably going to go back to and reread again in the future because it was beautiful and I loved it. And if you love The Bear and the Nightingale and those sorts of vibes, this has those vibes. So if you're a fan of The Bear and the Nightingale and haven't read this, I recommend. The next two kind of come as a pair, but we have got An Echo of Things to Come and The Light of All That Falls by James Islington. Islington, I do it every single time. It's pronounced Islington, and I get it wrong every single time. These two. This is book 2 and book 3 in the Lycanius trilogy. I read both of these in February. I read book 1 in January of last year, and book 1 is The Shadow of What Was Lost. That one didn't quite make it to 5 stars for me. That one got 4 stars, but you could see how that was setting up for some incredible things in these books. And this is a series that every time I try to talk about it, I really struggle to summarize because I feel like so much happens and so much of it is different to what you're introduced to in book 1. But let me try my best. In book 1, we follow our main character, Davian, and Davian lives in a world where anyone born with the gift of magic is looked down upon and therefore then shackled and forced to go to a special magical school where they're learnt to restrict and control their magic in a very strict way. There are certain rules that are set by the ruler of this world, and this physical shackle means that people with magical abilities cannot use their magic in any other way for risk of becoming a shadow. And becoming a shadow means having their magic and memories and anything that makes them a person pretty much stripped from them, and they are left as a shadow of a being. And Davian goes to one of these magic schools, is about to sit his magical trials of a kind, when he learns more about auras, and auras being these ancient magical people that are responsible in some way for the world being the way it is, and this magical barrier that's holding back all sorts of awful magical beings. And then something horrific happens at his school the night before he's supposed to sit these magical trials. And I don't know from there where I go with telling you what this series is about, because that is how the first book sets us up. But would I say that is what the series is about? Not necessarily. It's much more about fate and prophecies and destiny. And is your destiny chosen for you, or do you have the power to change it yourself? And there's also a whole lot of timey-wimey stuff in there that at a point in book 2 I was really confused about, and it definitely all pulls together in book 3. I really think this series is one that would do very well on a reread, because there is so much foreshadowing with this timey-wimey stuff, and I think going back on a reread, maybe tabbing or annotating, is something that I may look to do at some point. Not promising that I'll be doing that anytime soon, but I think that a reread would be incredible to piece all those pieces together early and see how early these signs are given to us. I feel like I've done a terrible job of explaining what these books are about, but there is dark magic, there is controlled magic, there is untapped magic, and a world that deeply misunderstands magic, and a boy called Davian who may be able to change some perspectives, if not the world, with the help of his pals. But yeah, I love these, and I've just done a terrible job of telling you what they're about, so we're going to move on. Book 2 and 3 got 5 stars. Next up is one that should come as absolutely zero surprise, The Malevolent Seven by Sebastian de Castell. War mages, brutal magic, war, brutality, Sebastian de Castell and his writing style, sassy characters that are not necessarily good people, but they're aware of it, and some crazy magics, some demons. This was just a recipe for success, and of course it was. I love anything that Sebastian de Castell writes. This was one of my favourite reads of last year. Shocker. Who saw that coming? So, this book follows a war mage called Cade, and the blurb for this is very much telling you to imagine a mage. Go on, there he is, old guy, big grey beard, in his robes with his pointy hat. No, forget that. That's not what a war mage is. War mages are brutal, they are mean, they are not nice people, they will do the hard stuff. And not necessarily to save the world, maybe just for the highest bidder. Cade finds himself on a job with his Thunder Mage buddy, who is maybe a little bit homicidal, as they take on the task of facing 7 of the deadliest mages in the world. And if you're facing 7 deadly mages, you should probably face them with 7 deadly mages. Enter the Malevolent Seven and the quest to find them. I loved it. I love anything that this man writes though, so shocker, let's move on. My next 5-star read of the year was The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. I loved this. I listened to the audiobook for this one, which I thoroughly recommend. If you're an audiobook listener, I think the audiobook for this was very well done, very well produced. There's 2 narrators to this story, and the production of the audiobook where like one narrator would interrupt another, I just think was very well done for the way this story is told. But this story follows Amina al-Sarafi. She is a legendary pirate captain, and if anyone is gonna tell you the story of Amina al-Sarafi, it should be Amina herself. So strap in for the stories that she has to tell. Stories of her past as a pirate, stories of how her life as a pirate came to an end, and how anyone can be tempted back into that life when the reward is as big as the one that she has been offered. But of course, with chasing that one final treasure, that one big reward, that desire to be an infamous legend, there is always risk with it. And is Amina willing to risk it all for that chance to become a legend? Is she willing to risk the family that she has made? Is she willing to risk her friends and her crew? Maybe. Maybe when the reward is just that high. But don't take anyone else's word for it. Take the word of Amina herself as she tells you the story. I just think this was incredible. Amina as a character, she is flawed, but she is strong, she is brave, she is weak at times, she wants so strongly, she is so motivated by her goals, but also the love she feels for her family. Oh, like she is such a real character, and as is her crew that we meet along the way as well, and our second narrator and the story of how they come to be who they are as well. And oh, I don't want to say too much on that because I don't want to spoil anything, but fabulous ending. If you like pirate stories, if you like atmospheric worlds and legends, this is one for you, and this edition, oh, is just beautiful. Hold on, it gets better. Oh, beautiful. It's the Fairy Loot edition. Next up is one that I feel like I read such a long time ago. I feel like I've gone on about this book so much, yet I only read it in 2023, but that is The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. I feel like I've gone on about this book being one of my new favourites so frequently, but I only read it last year. It was a best book of 2023, but I feel like it's been one I've gone on about so many times, so I'll try not to go on about it too long here. But this is a story about a prophecy. In this world, there is a prophesized hero, and the prophesized hero will kill the king and save the empire. Our main character, as a young boy, is picked out as this prophesized hero. So he is raised in splendor, he is given everything he could ever want because he is the prophesized hero that will save them all. But just because a prophecy has declared that you are going to kill the king, doesn't mean that you don't need to learn how to do that. Doesn't mean that that is just accidentally going to happen one day if you don't train for it. So maybe someone needs to teach this kid how to be the hero he's supposed to be and not just serve him everything on a silver platter. And then what if, after all that, someone else kills the king and steals your destiny from under you? With it, toppling an entire religion that was dedicated to the prophecy that you were supposed to fulfill? What happens then? What happens then? Ta-da! Did I sell it? Did I sell it to you? I really enjoyed this one. I know that it's not for everyone though, because I know a fair few people that didn't, because our main character is a whiny little brat. Yes. Yes, he is. And our other main character is a grumpy old woman. Yes. Yes, she is. But together, oh, So Jean is our main character, the young boy who is supposedly this prophesized hero. Taishi is the woman that steps in to train him to become this hero, and it's their story when the prophecy comes crumbling down, what happens to Jean, what becomes of him, what becomes of the Empire once the king has been killed, and not by the person he was supposed to be killed by, and how does this religion recover from it, or what do they make of it after that? I am desperate to read book 2 in this, The Art of Destiny. I have not read that yet. I really, really need to. Yeah, I loved it. And then finally, the last 5-star I had for 2023 was The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. I didn't know if this one was going to hit a 5-star, but when I was putting it through Corepile, which is the rating system created by G at Book Roast, Cawpile, Corepile, it breaks down the rating to give you like a more accurate star rating. It did come out at a 5-star. Looking back on it, I can entirely see how that happened. At the time, I think because I wasn't emotionally impacted by this as much as I thought I was going to be, like I had seen people crying over this and it didn't make me cry. I thought that it therefore wasn't going to be a 5-star read. But I was so invested in this. I read this in a day, flew through it. Am I going to do it any justice telling you what it's about? Probably not. This book is about the Kaiganese Empire. And the Kaiganese Empire is made for warriors. It is made of warriors. The men of this empire grow to be incredibly strong warriors that will defend their empire. They will go to war. They have famously won wars in the past, and therefore they continue to train to be the best of the best when it comes to warriors. The people of this particular nation are known as the Sword of Kaigen because they are like the first attack. If the Kaiganese Empire is at attack, it is the Sword of Kaigen that will defend them, and that is where these people are, who are these incredible warriors. We initially follow a young boy called Matsuda, who is the son of one of the strongest warriors in Kaigen, and he is desperate to live up to his family name and also be one of the strongest warriors that their nation has to offer. He is desperate to master his family's specific fighting techniques. A little bit of elemental magic comes into play there. And whilst he is learning all of this and training to become this incredible warrior, he finds out that he might not have as much time as he thought he would to put these skills into action and defend the empire. What's worse is that certain things reveal themselves to him to make him realise that the empire that he so strongly wants to defend might be built on a foundation of lies. The other character that we follow is Misaki, and Misaki is the wife of a warrior, the mother of warriors, and she has promised to leave her past behind her. I don't want to spoil her story because her story is incredible. Okay, it tells us on the bottom. Her history, while she is desperate to be a good wife, a good housewife, a good mother, her past and her history hides under the kitchen floorboards in the form of her deadly weapon. Because she is also an incredible warrior. But in Kaigen, being a warrior is the men's job, not the women's. So she needs to put that history behind her. But when everything she loves is being threatened, and she has the ability to help, do you think she's gonna leave that under the floorboards? I don't. So Misaki finds the warrior in her clawing its way out of the kitchen floorboards and back to the surface. And the tagline at the very end of this, as the winds of war reach their peninsula, will the Matsuda family have the strength to defend the empire, or will they tear each other apart before the true enemies ever reach their shore? Lots of family drama, as well as the big political drama, as well as truths and lies and smaller political dramas as well, of their town and the power that this particular family has in this town and the respect that they hold over other people, but also like the bigger political story as well. There is a lot going on in this, a lot of relationships to dig into, and a lot of truths to uncover. I really enjoyed this, and I definitely think I have done a terrible job of explaining that, but I tried my very best. Lots going on, lots to get invested in. A very quick and easy read, despite the size of it, I'll be honest with you. Ended up getting a 5-star from me. What more can you say? And there we have it. There are my 5-star reads for 2023. Now, I did also reread the Chorus of Dragons series in 2023 as well, and they all got 5-star too, because they are some of my favourite books. I love the Chorus of Dragons series. It starts with Ruin of Kings. We've got Ruin of Kings, Name of All Things, Memory of Souls, House of Always, and Discord of Gods. They all get 5 stars. I've gone on about that series many, many times though, so I won't go on about it again. But they all got 5 stars on reread, but they don't really count for 2023. I just figured they should have an honourable mention here too. So yeah. There we go. I feel like I have rambled way too long about these books, but also probably done a terrible job of explaining them. But I hope you have enjoyed, and if I have persuaded you to pick up any of these books, let me know, because that would be a big old win. Or if you've already read any of these and have similar feelings to me, let me know about that too. But yeah. That is it for this video. Thank you very much for hanging out with me for a little bit and letting me gush about my faves. Hope you have enjoyed. If you want to let me know what your favourite book of 2023 was down below as well, that would be pretty cool. And stay tuned to find out what my least favourite books of 2023 were as well, because that will be coming soon to a screen near you. But for now, thanks for hanging out, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye!